So welcome back, everybody. Today's episode, we're going to be going over the new EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus. I am genuinely excited about this model. There's a lot of new upgrades and features here that I've never seen on a unit this size. So if y'all are new to the channel, we are no stranger to solar here. This is just one of 3 arrays that we currently have, and we're about to build another large solar array here. So I do test a lot of products, but I'll admit, typically in the past, we run EcoFlow's larger products, like the Delta Pro 3 and the Delta Ultra that run our entire homes. We recently just had all of them pulled out because we got hit with another hurricane down here in Florida, and we've been losing a lot of power here lately. So I decided to test this unit because there's a couple things that really piqued my interest on it. Let's dive right into it. This is an affordable solution that you can build out larger than what you see here, so it may be just what you're looking for. So if we take a peek on the front side of the Delta 3 Plus, what you have is 6 power outputs here, your typical 120 volt outputs. This unit is rated at 1800 watts of power continuous, 3600 surge. That's an awesome capacity there. Plus this unit has X-Boost feature, which you can turn that on via the app. And what that allows you to do is get up to 2600 continuous watts out of these. Keep in mind that does reduce the voltage when that happens, so you might not want to use that on certain types of appliances. Up top, we have 140 volt USB-Cs and 2 USB fast chargers. So here's our display here, which is actually visible even in direct sunlight, but it is very visible when there's any kind of shading. Now what I like about EcoFlow's displays, they'll tell you the input power, the output power, how much time you have left, battery, as well as other host of information. Now if we flip around to the back side, this is where things start getting really exciting. There's a lot I do want to talk about with this unit. Here's your typical 12 volt output right here, as well as some barrel plug adapters if you need the 12 volt ability. But let's flip this down and start having a discussion here. Very happy to see that units this size are starting to get some serious capacity. You now have 2 15 amp max or 500 watt apiece solar input ports here, so we can run up to 1000 watts. That's worth mentioning on this unit. If you use your AC input right here, you can charge up to 1500 watts, which has this unit fully charged in about 56 minutes. That's some extreme rapid charging right here. And if you use the solar inputs, it takes you a little over an hour there if you use the full 500 watts apiece or 1000 watts total for capacity. That is awesome, seeing 1000 watts of input available for a unit this size. Here's where we get really exciting as well, an extra battery port. Now you can get a unit this size that doesn't break the bank, and you can run it as is with the current 1000 watt hour battery that's inside of it, or we can add on additional batteries. So the options that they give you is you can add an additional 1000 watt hour battery for the Delta 3 series, or they give you the option to add a very large 4000 watt hour Delta Pro 3 battery. That means the 1000 watt hour battery in here plus that will give you 5000 watt hours of capacity, allowing you to have some serious runtime for things like medical equipment, freezers, refrigerators, or whatever it else is that you want to run. There's just not many other units out there in this size and this category that's going to give you the ability to put up to 5000 watt hours worth of batteries and to have dual solar input charging ports. Now on the front, I should also mention, here's where your cooling fans are. This unit is extremely silent. I'm talking as quiet as I've ever heard a unit be. I can barely hear the fans even when under full load. Another awesome feature of this and how I've been using it the past hurricane, you can do what's called a UPS feature. So on that back charging port for the AC, you can plug it into the wall. When this unit charges up to 100%, anything you have plugged in the front, it then passes power from the wall through the unit out. So whenever you put your, say, security cameras or internet routers into this and leave, whenever the wall loses power, this has a 10 millisecond swap over, so it does not drop out anything plugged in the front, and then it automatically goes to the battery power inside. So that's a really awesome and overlooked feature. These really serve an awesome purpose as a UPS, uninterrupted power supply. So again, if you have security cameras or internet, or if you want to use this to keep running, say, a refrigerator at a home that you evacuated from, or maybe you have a second home, a cabin, something such as that, and you worry about power outage, plug this into the wall, fully charged. Anything in the front, like I said, passes through. As soon as that power from the wall goes out, the grid goes down, this automatically converts over either to the internal battery, or don't forget, you can add a smaller battery or a large battery to have lots of extra runtime and capacity. Another feature I am so happy to see EcoFlow's offering, especially in a unit this size. If you're going to start using this as actual backup, and you can with this kind of battery capacity, well, there's a feature in the app. They have a pretty cool app, and the feature that you can turn on in there is basically whatever the last setting of this unit was. So say you've got it plugged into the wall working as that UPS feature. It swaps over because you lost grid power. This goes down and you're running the 120 volt plugs, 12 volt plugs, does not matter. You can turn the feature on the app that says wherever I was at whenever we were last running is where I want you to return to. So when the grid power comes back on, the unit starts charging back up, it automatically knows to kick the 110 volt or 120 volt outputs back on. You'd be surprised how many units do not offer that feature. The reason that's important, say this is running your little cabin or weekend getaway home and you've got all the food in the refrigerator you don't want to spoil on you. Well, if you lose power, this kicks off, power comes back, it's restored, this starts charging, but it does not kick your refrigerator back on. If you're not there, you've just lost the food. So I love that you got the ability to tell this to resume where you were once you start back charging and get some battery capacity. That's exactly how the big home stuff works. That's how these should as well, when you can build these out as large as they're claiming. So not only is the 1800 watts of continuous 3600 surge awesome for starting to do legit real backup for your freezers, refrigerators, and your medical equipment, the battery capacity now is starting to make this a true workhorse, but they have done something else that I have never really seen in a package this small to really start making this a home backup solution, at least for appliances, medical equipment, things such as that. We're not running central ACs or major appliances, but the majority of people that are running these are just trying to save food and run some of that other stuff. Wait do you see what else they've worked up here. All right, so this is where things get exciting, and they've kind of thought of everything. So while this is not released yet, I'm already testing and they're already showing it on their website as a solution to pair with this unit right here. We'll be showing you some coverage on this in the future. This is EcoFlow's newest smart generator, and it's set up specifically for the Delta series here. So we'll be doing a full review on this later once I get some testing time under my belt, so to speak, and pair all this up. So not to mention all the capacities to this unit now, from the solar ability to the batteries. Well, what if you don't have the solar panels and you're using this as battery backup only? A lot of people are still quite interested in generators. They have set this particular unit up to run with a smart generator. Long story short, what that means is you can plug this into this smart generator, which by the way automatically starts itself up. They communicate via Bluetooth. You can use the EcoFlow app to set timers, storm alerts, all kinds of things. These communicate, they work together. So imagine this, you've got all your extra battery power to this, you've got it set up to run your home that you evacuated from for the hurricane or whatever that may be, or your weekend home, and you've got this also plugged in and stored somewhere else. It works on gas, or you can put a very large propane tank on this as well. Well, if this runs and happens to run low because say the power's out, it tells this to crank up, charge me up. This will automatically shut down, all whether you are there or not, and you can monitor it from the app as well and make adjustments. That is unbelievable. They have taken something so small, lightweight, and portable that used to kind of be geared more for camping. Now you've got an actual home backup solution that can work with the solar panels behind me, generator, and or both. So for the people not looking to get into the large several $1,000 units, you can start with something that's a few $100s right here and build this out as big or as small as you want to and make it very, very capable. Speaking of the affordability of this, I'm gonna put a link down in the description. By the way, I legally have to tell you, if you use that link, I earn a small commission. Does not cost you a dime extra. But here's the good part. They just released this. They've already got them on a very special price because of that. And I'm gonna give you a discount code as well down there. So make sure you use my link and that discount code to get this for an even better price. It's also worth noting, depending on when you watch this video, I'm gonna release it right in the middle of Prime Day deals. So EcoFlow is doing some Amazon Prime Day deals, and they're doing deals on their website. I'm also gonna put some links down in the description for that. Now's the time to get you a killer deal on some of this stuff and go check out some of their other products as well. All right, I already know in the past, these will run your typical freezers, refrigerators, CPAPs, just about anything you can think of other than really large appliances. Window units, doesn't matter, this will run the majority of them. So let's go in my shed in here, run some fans, run some AC units, and run a very stubborn refrigerator that I have that's quite power hungry. See if this will start all that up, look at some average run times, have a discussion with that, and wrap this video up. All right, so here we are out in my shop in a processing room, and I have a few things in here we can test real quick. Having tested a lot of devices like this in the past, I can tell you it's gonna run the majority of your household appliances, medical equipment, things such as that. But right now I have a 5,000 BTU window unit plugged into this. This is going to be relatively high demand. This can easily start it, but it'll give you an idea on runtime. Now, what you got to keep in mind with window units is they're only going to pull power, a majority of the power, when the compressor's engaged. Once the room cools off, they may just run the fan, which will be a small fraction of the wattage used while it's under load. So the load that we're going to look at with the compressor engaged is not going to be the actual runtime. It'll run a lot longer unless your room is so hot that the compressor is just not going to cut off on a unit like this. All right, so you can see we're plugged in. I got the unit up to 99%. Let's turn this on and engage the compressor on this unit. See what kind of power it pulls. So currently just the fan's pulling 50 watts and it's saying we can run for 9.7 hours. So let's wait for the compressor to kick on. There it is. So this just started up the AC, no problem. Now you can see we're currently outputting 355 watts. And the unit just adjusted for that. We could run this window unit for 2.7 hours continuous. Don't forget, it's not going to run that long. The room will be cooled off in a few minutes. And then we can go back to either no power or running just the fan on. So you could run a window unit on this for many, many hours. That's before you add any additional batteries to this. All right, so now let's just turn on this old cheap fan that I have out here in my shop. We'll put it on low, take a quick look. Only pulling 30 watts. And it's currently saying we could run that fan for 13.9 hours. That's important to people. So if you're dealing with a major power outage, you might want to run a fan in your bedroom, charge some phones, plug a few other things in. You could easily run all night long doing that before you have to recharge. All right, so this particular refrigerator I have, full size, there's something about it, it is not efficient at all. I've did lots of tests before. Actually, I've had several gas generators not start this. It has a really high demand. That's the wonderful thing about these units like this. They have a really high surge capacity, so it should start this up. The other really good thing about freezers and refrigerators, the compressor does not run long at all, then they cycle off. As long as you don't open these during an emergency outage, they'll last a long, long time. So whatever you're about to see here, keep in mind that's only going to be for a few minutes until these things cool off, you're good to go. Even deep freezers that are full of frozen food realistically only have to be ran for a few minutes a day to maintain that temperature. Deep freezers can last a really long time before food starts thawing. A refrigerator you're going to have to run a little more often, but one of these devices alone can literally pay for themselves. I have more value in food in this freezer, quite a bit more, several $100s more than what one of these things cost. All right, I got this plugged into it. Let's turn this up, see if it'll kick it on. We're gonna have to give a second for the compressor to kick on because I just cut it off for this test. And you should see a spike up here. There it is. Did you see that? It shot all the way up to 2,453 watts. This is why I've struggled for so long to be able to start this particular refrigerator on a gas generator. All right, so take a look at this. Now the compressor is fully engaged. After we got over that big spike that started, we're only using 100 and something watts, less than I had remembered. This is saying it could run that refrigerator for 6 hours with the compressor continuously running, over 6 hours. Keep in mind, the compressor is only going to run a few minutes and then this is going to go back to 0 watts. So yes, this could realistically save your refrigerator food for all day long and probably then some, a deep freezer even longer because they're so efficient and they hold temperature so well. All right, so let's wrap this video up here. I'm still going to continue to do some long-term testing with this unit. Now, if you watch our other channel, you know typically we run the much larger EcoFlow products. We like the stuff that'll run entire homes, but I must say I am now genuinely getting excited about these smaller units because of the capabilities they're building into it. From the smart generator to all the extra battery capacity to the rapid recharging and to the higher solar capacity. That takes this from just something that's a weekend camping units the way I've always seen them to now something that you can legitimately back up some stuff in your home with, all without breaking the bank. So without spending several $1,000s on the big massive units, you can spend a few hundred and get something that you can build out to be a system that you desire. We'll continue to do some long-term testing on this, and don't forget, coming up here in the future, we're going to pair this with the smart generator. I am really excited about that. I've been wanting to test one of their smart generators for a very long time, and I've had a request from a lot of viewers to do that as well. I think this is going to be a sweet combination without breaking the bank once you pair those two together. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.